morning. Good to see everyone. Just a little reminder. Our Turning Servant, the River of Life mission is coming up. It's set for Tuesday, June the 18th, and we meet at the mission at 6 or earlier if you can. It's always a time of blessing, and we take the good news of Jesus to all the guests. You can see us for more information after the study tonight. Remember our Sunday night study. We continue in our DVD study through the book of 1 Thessalonians. We've just really begun. And join us at 6 as we look at the events leading up to and including the rapture of the church. So great study ongoing, guys. Sunday night, that's been really, really rich. Tremendous opportunity. Keep LaVon in prayer. She's been battling the bronchitis, and I think she's just starting to turn the corner. It's been real tough on her, so again, she says to tell hello to everybody, and she appreciates your prayers. Keep our son John in prayer too, because Johnny, I believe, yesterday went in for MRI on one of his knees. And I didn't really think about it, but I thought about it. I said, the kid is a kind of a busy guy besides working. I know he does a lot of hiking, he works out at the gym, and he's constantly playing volleyball, I think, with the kids at the school. They have a kind of good volleyball following. I think they have a gym dedicated for volleyball, so I think he plays a lot of volleyball with the kids. Somehow he injured his knee, he went in for that MRI, and I think on Monday he goes in to consult with his local doctor the results of that MRI. So if you can keep him in prayer for that. But Esther chapter 7, guys, Esther chapter 7. Am I on? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We left off last week in verse 10 of Esther 7, and let's pick up our study there. Chapter 7, verse 10. Chapter 7, verse 10. If I can get there, that'd be good. So they hanged Haman on the gallows which he prepared for Mordecai, and the king's anger subsided. Hey, all along, guys, this guy Mordecai, he was a bad dude. He built those gallows. After all is said and done, we see Haman now hung on the gallows. He had built to hang Mordecai the Jew, guys. And Haman was really a bad guy. He really hated Mordecai. He really says, hey, on top of killing Mordecai, I want to just wipe out all the Jews. And again, Haman ended up, remember, Haman had persuaded the king to kill, annihilate, and to exterminate the entirety of the Jewish population. And it sounds much like, World War II, where Hitler really wanted to try and exterminate all the Jews. Look back with me to chapter 3, verses 7 through 9, in the book of Esther, chapter 3, 7 to 9. And in the first month, with which the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, that is, the lot, was cast before Haman, from day to day and from month to month until the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. And Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all those of all the people, and they do not observe the king's laws, so it is not in the king's interest to let them remain. If it's pleasing to the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who carry out the king's business to put in the king's treasury. Here Haman makes his case before the Persian king of a people who were different and held to a higher law, the law of God. There were some people scattered throughout all the provinces of Persia. There were some 127 states or provinces throughout the entire empire of Persia. And again, this guy was so persuasive, Haman. His reasoning being that it's not in your best interest, king, to let them remain or to let them live. And you can kind of think that, hey, where's the people going? Do they have to leave the planet? Do they have to leave the great empire of Persia? But he says, really, hey, we want to just exterminate them. We want to entirely wipe them out. We want to wipe these people out. And why the hatred of the Jews? The Jews for all time, they've been God's chosen people. They've been God, the apple of his eye. And again, God has had much favor upon the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. And I think that many people have looked upon them with suspicion and anger and hatred, and you can hear it in the tones today. Even again, the people just do not like the Jewish people. For no other reason than this, these people ought to be wiped out. He said, they don't follow your laws. It's not in your best interest to have them around. So in verses 10 and 11, the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the silver is yours, and the people also. Do with them as you please. And how cavalier this king is, yeah? He's talking about an entire race of people, an entire population of people, just telling them, hey, do what you will as you were with, as you will. The king went along with this this trusted advisor. Haman was his trusted advisor, giving him approval to follow through his plans. Do with them as you please, like tossing out the trash. You know, it's like, hey, do it this old clothes, this old rag, whatever it is, just toss it out. But it didn't bother the king to investigate the claims of Haman. Just do what pleases you. And what a king he is. He didn't even think about, hey, wiping out this entire population of people. It's so, and so it was by the swift stroke of the pen, guys, the stamp of approval. The bomb was put into motion that the Jews would be exterminated. How simple, how quick that is. Chapter 4, verses 1 to 3. When Mordecai learned all that had been done, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went on into the midst of the city. He wailed loudly and bitterly, and he went as far as the king's gate, for no one was to enter the king's gate clothed in sackcloth. And in each and every province where the command and decree of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, wailing, and many lay on sackcloth and ashes. The news of the planned extermination of the Jewish people traveled far and wide, guys, throughout the vast Persian Empire. And in every corner of the land, there was a great mourning, there was a great weeping, there was wailing and fasting. And I want to say that, like with fasting comes prayer, guys. With fasting is associated with prayer. And with this fasting, again, accompanied by prayer. And when things are bad, there seems to be no way out. It causes us to press into the Lord even greater and even deeper in prayer. You know when you're going through a hard time, don't you think that, hey, that's when you pray the most? When things are going right, everything is la-di-da, everything is good, it's almost like we're on cruise control. It's almost like, hey, we got it, Lord. No problem, we're sailing right along. Things are smooth, sailing smooth. I got 3 square meals a day, I got a bed to sleep on, shelter over my head, you know, I got a job, things are going good. It's almost like we got it, Lord. And when times are bad, hey, that's when we really press in. That's when we really seek Him. Turn with me to Psalm 83, guys. Psalm 83. You know, I was kind of thinking about it. What did Mordecai the Jew feel? What did the people of the land feel? And how were they, you know, we know that the end result was they Haman hung on the gallows that he built for Mordecai. But what took place in between the time that this decree, this announcement went out, and the Lord turned the tables? But Psalm 83, it says, it's really entitled in my Bible, a plea for God to destroy Israel's enemies. And it's a song of Asaph. And it says, oh God, do not remain quiet. Do not be silent, and oh God, do not be still. For behold, the enemy is making an uproar, and those who hate thee have exalted themselves. They make shrewd plans against thy people. They conspire together against thy treasured ones. And with the news of the planned extermination of the Jewish population, guys, it traveled, Here the cry of the psalmist is, do not remain quiet. Lord, do not remain silent. Do not remain still. You know, sometimes when things are going through in our life, sometimes we think, Lord, where are you when I'm hurting? Don't you know? Lord, why aren't you reacting? Lord, why aren't you moving right now? Why aren't you having it, the answer to my prayer come right this second? And sometimes, like the psalmist, we cry out to the Lord, and Lord, why are you silent? I'm not hearing from you, Lord. Why are you quiet? Lord, can you speak up louder? Maybe I can hear you. I'm a little bit deaf, and so we are a lot of times. We strain to hear the word of the Lord. And Lord, you're so still. Why don't you move a little bit quicker? Don't you know that these things are going on? The enemy seems loud and clear. He seems bold and rash. They have raised themselves up. They're making big body. I like that thought. You know when you're a kid and you're on the playground and you try to get some advantage over the other kid. What do? You make your body bigger, like big body. Hey, no bother me, no challenge me. Hey, chance, that's what you do. Sometimes you make big body at school. Like guys like us, our body is already big, so there's no making it bigger, hopefully. But when you're kids, you kind of like stick out your chest and make big body, and you're telling guys, hey, don't bother me. And here in verses 3 and 4, he goes, they have said, come, let us wipe them out as a nation. The name of Israel shall be remembered no more. They make shrewd plans against their people. They conspire together against the treasured ones. And I really think that within Mordecai's heart and the heart of the people, they were really going to this thing, like these guys are conspiring, they want to kill us. Lord, we're your treasured ones. Lord, don't be silent. Lord, don't be still. Lord, speak to us because, we need to hear your voice. These shrewd plans speak of craftiness. They're talking about cunning planning, and they're prudent or wise in the evil way. You can kind of think of this word prudent. Prudent is wisdom, but can you say that you're wise in the things of the world? You're wise in evil things. And this is what the psalmist says. The same word conspire is used 2 times in the Bible, and only in this psalm, conspire and conspire. But it's to advise together, to seek and give counsel in evil things is the thought, to deceive and plan and purpose for bad to the nation of Israel. You think that, this is the world forces, these are the nations that rage. In Psalm 2 it says, why do the nations rage? And it's like the entire world is up in arms against against Jesus Christ. Why do the nations roar and against his people? Verses 5 to 8 said, they have conspired together with one mind. Against thee do they make a covenant. The tents of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, Agarites, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, the inhabitants of Tyre, Assyria has joined with them. They have become a help to the children of Lot. They came together to wipe out your people. These, the nations of the world, have come together to wipe out your people. Imagine this heartfelt cry of Mordecai and the Jewish people as they sought the salvation of the Lord. What's funny is that the nation Amalek is included in this list of the worldly nations. But remember that Haman was called the Agagite, or the Agagite. Remember that Agagite was the title of the king of Amalek. Agagite was just saying, like, hey, you're the king of Amalek. And here it is, it's so uncanny that the Lord names Amalek, or the people of this one Haman, who sought to wipe out the children of God. And he says, deal with them as with Midian, as with Sisera and Yabin, and the torrents of Kishon, who destroyed at Endor, who became dung for the ground, and make the nobles like Oreb and Zeb, and all the princes like Zaba and Zalmunna, who have said, let us possess for ourselves the pastures of God. If you guys were to go back, not now, but in your study tonight or later on this week, and look at the book of Judges, you're going to find these people, Sisera and Yabin, in the book of Judges. You're going to see people like Oreb and Zeb, and the princes like Ziba and Zalmunna listed in the book of Judges. The fascinating thing are these people, Oreb and Zeb and Zaba and Zalmunna. They were the kings and the princes of the Midianites and the Amalekites, I believe, who came to raid Israel time and time again. They came during the time of the harvest. They came like locusts. They came with camels. To have a camel was like having a tank In other words, they just came, they raided the land, they took all the crops, they took all the produce of the field. And here we find a very obscure guy by the name of Gideon. He was hiding out in the wine press, trying to just thresh a little bit of wheat, just trying to eke out a little bit of a living, just trying to get enough wheat to bake a loaf of bread for his family, and to hide whatever he had against these Midianites and the Amalekites. And these guys just came in and raided the nation. And these are the guys, again, in the book of Judges, guys, who said, let us possess for ourselves the pastures of God. These guys already possessed the pastures of God, at one time, during the time of Haman. But they said, hey, let's take it a step further. Let's just destroy the people of the land. What's fascinating with these guys, Oreb and Zeb, they're camels. The camels were jewelry, guys. They were so rich, the camels were jewelry. What they wore around their neck was the crescent moon. And if you look at many of the flags of the nations in the Middle East today, they all include the crescent moon as part of their flag, as part of their national heritage. So where has the battle begun? Has it just begun recently, after 1948, with the reinception of the nation of Israel? It's gone back for centuries that this battle of those who are against the nation of Israel has taken place. I found that fascinating that the camels wore these crescent moons around their neck. Can you just imagine the camels wearing jewelry? But it really became a symbol of who we were and who we are. And this really became a sign of these are the forces, the world forces that are against Israel till this day, men and women. Try and look at the flags of the Middle East, and you're going to see, and many of them all have that crescent-shaped moon on their flag. But he says in Psalm 83, oh my God, make them like the whirling dust and the chaff of the wind, like fire that burns the forest, and like the flame that sets the mountain on fire. So pursue them with thy tempest, and terrify them with thy storm. Fill their faces with dishonor, that they may seek the name of the Lord. Let them be ashamed and dismayed forever. Let them be humiliated and perish, that they might know that thou alone, whose name is the Lord, art the most high over all the earth. I find it interesting that that they say, let their faces be filled with dishonor. But what is the result? That they might seek thy name, O Lord. God in all his mercy, God in all his wonder. The psalmist says, hey, save us from these guys who want to wipe us out. But he's saying, God be gracious. May they go through this difficult time. May they go through the chaff that blows before the wind, the fire that burns in the forest. But pursue them with thy tempest, terrify them with their storm, but that they might seek thy name, O Lord. In other words, God, give them a chance to repent. Give them a chance to turn to you. No matter how bad these people are, no matter how much they hate your people, Lord, may they turn to seek your face. May they turn to seek you. God is not a God that desires the death of the wicked, but he desires that all may come to repentance and to everlasting life. And I think that, in our life, we might feel that if we are in a tough spot, we are in a bad spot. And most of the time, we don't have people that hate us so much that they want to exterminate us or kill us. But let's face it, guys, we have an enemy who hates us going forward, who hates us moving forward in the things of the Lord. And he wants to wipe us out. If not physically, he wants to wipe us out spiritually. He may bring temptation, he might bring anger, he might bring jealousy, he might bring bitterness, unforgiveness into our hearts. And these are the things like bringing sin into our camp or sin into our lives, allowing these things to come in that slowly take the life from us, that slowly annihilate the good work that God has begun and continues and wants to do in our life. The enemy is shrewd, he's crafty, he's cunning in his planning, he's prudent, wise or wise in an evil way. Lavan's been at home. She's really can't do much. She's been watching a lot of movies on TV, and she was watching a movie, an old Tom Cruise movie today, and this lady was trying to seduce Tom Cruise, and actually she did. But she says, for buy it, you're turned into a loaf of bread. In other words, she was referring to the proverb that sin comes in to just kind of sweep us away, and by it a man is turned into a loaf of bread. She was talking about sexual sin, where the proverb speaks of sexual sin, and by it, going to the heart that a man is turned into a loaf of bread. So whatever the weakness is, it might be sexual, it might be financial, it might be pride. Remember Billy Graham always said gold, girls, and glory. We want to glorify ourselves, and that's the same thing with Haman. And really we see that pride came before his fall. And he was so filled with pride that really he became unsavable, it seems like. But they say, Lord, wipe them out. Wipe out the enemies of your people. And unfortunately, as sure as there is salvation in the Lord, there is judgment to come, and God will judge righteously those enemies of Israel, those enemies of his people. Turn back with me to Esther chapter 4. I was kind of thinking that it's so anticlimactic. Haman was hanged on his own gallows. We know that God has the victory. We know that God is one. But we have a little time to glimpse at what the people went through in their heartfelt terror, in their heartfelt prayer, and drawing near to the Lord. And sometimes that's how we are. I think I've been praying with a family. They're just going through a real financial difficulty at this time. Their business seems to be really going sideways, and they've been a good, faithful supporter of the church, and they've been seeking the Lord and walking with the Lord and all this and that. But they're just going through a financial reversal, and it's a real fearful time. Not only fearful of what they might lose, all their possessions, their savings, their home, but I think the fear is, what are people going to think? What are people going to think when they hear that, hey, we have to go bankrupt, we have to do this, we have to do that? What are people going to think? And the fear of man is the greater thing, but I don't know how God is going to work things out. But I said, there's no fear in God, in his perfect love. There's no fear in that. We go through financial reversals. We might have some savings on the side. We might have a little bit of equity in the home, but maybe God has put that aside, that you might use it for just a time as this, such a time as this, to help you through this difficult time. But in Esther chapter 4, verses 7 to 8, and Mordecai told him that what had happened to him, and the exact amount of money that Haman had promised to give to the king's treasury. Here Esther went out. She heard that her uncle was in a bad way, in sackcloth and ashes, kind of just mourning at the king's gate. And she sent her messenger out. And Mordecai told him all that had happened to him and the exact amount of money Haman had promised to pay the king's treasury for the destruction of the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the text of the edict, which had been issued in Susa for their destruction, that he might show Esther and inform her, to order her to go to the king and implore his favor, and to plead with him for his people. Esther, hearing of Mordecai's distress, he sent that messenger out to hear of the goings on. So Mordecai revealed the plans of Haman, along with the details of the murderous plotting to Esther. And here in verses 12 to 14, they related Esther's words to Mordecai, and Mordecai told him to reply to Esther. What Esther says that, hey, if the king doesn't summon me into his presence, I can be killed for that, by just barging my way into the king's presence. And they related Esther's word to Mordecai. Then Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, do not imagine that you in the king's palace can escape any more than all the Jews. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from some other place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this. Again, we often quote this verse 14 to where we may see that we are in a certain place at a particular time to be a part of God's plan. And guys, God is looking for people to step out in faith at times, to go and to just say, hey, we're willing to take a chance. God, we'll see. You know, as Pastor Chuck would often say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And at times we think that, hey, we could lose everything. We could be a big flop. We could be a laughing stock. We could do this or that, whatever it might be. Or like Esther, I could be killed, because of this. But how do you know if we are not in a certain place at a particular time to be a part of God's plan? Guys, sometimes, we're right there at the right place, at the right circumstance, at the right time. And God wants us to speak out love. God wants us to move in faith. God wants to minister on his behalf. 15 to 17, Esther told them to reply to Mordecai, go assemble all the Jews who are found in Susa and fast for me, and do not eat or drink 3 days, night or day, and I and my maidens also will fast in that same way. And thus I will go into the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went away and did just as Esther had commanded him. Please pray, she says. Please entreat the Lord in this manner. And whatever happens, God's will be done. Whatever happens, God's will be done. She said, if I perish, I perish. But I'm going to try and reach out to the king on behalf of my people. Turn with me to Psalm 57, guys. Psalm 57, these Psalms really speak of the heart of the people. And God's heart. Psalm 57, verse 1. Be gracious to me, O God, be gracious to me. For my soul takes refuge in thee, and in the shadow of thy wings I will take refuge until destruction passes by. In all of Esther's uncertainty, guys, she asked for grace upon grace. Be gracious to me, O God, be gracious to me. Grace is that favor, grace is that unmerited favor. Grace is that it's all God and not anything of us. It says, God, I need your grace. I need your favor. I need your mercy. And this is where Esther was at in all the uncertainty. She asked for grace. God, I need your favor. Lord, be my refuge and be my shelter in all I go through, and allow the destruction to pass me by. She had placed her entire faith, her trust in the Lord, saying that, hey, Lord, if I perish, I perish. But I'm going to try and do my best to go in faith, to reach out on behalf of my people. I will cry to the God Most High, to the God who accomplishes all things for me. And he will send from heaven and save me. He reproaches him who tramples upon me. God will send forth his loving kindness and his truth. She acknowledges the God Most High, sent from heaven and save me. And at times that's all we can do. Guys, I don't know, sometimes we can be paralyzed with fear, we can be paralyzed if we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know where we're going to move. But he says, hey, send forth from heaven and save me. You move before me. There are times that we can barely pray. We can just say, oh God. We can just moan. We can just moan, oh God. The situation seems so bad. It seems so hopeless. Send forth in your loving kindness and your truth, your faithfulness. We can always say, God, your loving kindness, you're merciful. Lord, you are truthful and you are faithful in all your doings on our behalf. At times we feel so hopeless. God, it's only you. It's only by you that we can move. Verse 40 goes on, my soul is among lions. I must be among those who breathe forth fire. Even the sons of men whose teeth are spears and arrows. Their tongue, a sharp sword. Like Daniel in the lion's den, guys. Esther sought that God would shut the mouth of the lion. Remember that Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and the Lord shut the mouth of the lions. And we know that Satan is like that roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. And the enemy of our soul is out there seeking and roaring and just snatching people up. We see them on the street, we see them in the high-rise buildings, in these luxury buildings. We see them in the low-rise, we see them uptown and downtown, and we see the up-and-outers and the down-and-outers, all without the Lord. And the lion holding them prey, the lion just ravaging their lives. Verse 5, he goes, be exalted above the heavens, O Lord. Let thy glory be above all the earth. It's hard to imagine that Esther and her maidens, along with Mordecai and all the Jewish people, praying and petitioning before the Lord, can say, be exalted above the heavens. Do you know that God inhabits the praises of his people? Do you know that when we worship the Lord, it seems like we tear down strongholds, we cast down strongholds, and Satan comes falling like that fallen angel, guys. There's power in prayer, there's power in worship, and if you like to worship the Lord, if you think that you love singing a song, if you go to the hospital and somehow you don't have a ukulele, you don't have a guitar, but God gives you a song, and you just want to share that song with that person, just to lift them up or whatever it might be. You might think that, hey, I don't have the greatest voice of all, but it doesn't matter because God blesses that. And as we worship the Lord, I think God just acknowledges that. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have dug a pit before me. They themselves have fallen into the midst of it. And that's exactly what happened to Haman, guys. He built that gallows some 75 feet high in the air. And he built it for someone else to hang for it, but he ended up hanging on it. Like those who dig a pit before me, the psalmist says, they have fallen into the midst of it. But my heart is steadfast, O God. My heart is steadfast. Can you imagine this young maiden, Esther? She feared that the king would reject her. She feared that if I perish, I perish. But my heart is steadfast. Guys, no matter what we go through, I wanted to tell that family that I said, hey, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, it seems like, with the loss of their business, with the loss of a lot of their possessions and stuff. You're walking like through the valley of the shadow of death, but thou art with me, O Lord. God is with you. His rod and his staff, they comfort, they guide us, they shepherd us. I cannot say anything. I told them, I don't know what you guys, I can't imagine what you folks are going through in this shutting down of your business, in the loss of your income, and so on and so forth. But the Lord says that it's like you're going to the valley of the shadow of death. In our own lives, much of the times, we will experience things that seem like they went to the valley of the shadow of death. And you know what the psalmist says, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. I fear no evil. Please. I fear no evil. And again, they have dug that pit before me. They themselves have fallen to the midst. My heart is steadfast, O God. My heart is steadfast. I will sing praises. Awake my glory, awake harp and lyre. I will awaken the dawn. I will give thanks to thee, O Lord, among the peoples. I will sing praises to thee among the nations. For thy loving kindness is great to the heavens, and thy truth to the clouds. Be exalted above the heavens. Right within this psalm is a couple of praise and worship songs that we sang for much of the time in earlier years. But you know, no matter what it is, I cannot say that in our time of difficulty, there is power in praise. There was a book by Merlin Carothers that spoke of there was power in praise. In other words, when we go into those difficult times, when we go into the hard times, when we're having trouble at work, when we're having trouble financially, It might be health. It might be kids gone wild. It might be my husband's gone wild. It might be my wife's gone wild. Whatever it might be. Depends who you talk to. If you talk to the husband, oh, it's the wife. If you talk to the wife, oh, it's my husband. But somehow, our heart has to be steadfast. And we gotta be a people of praise. We gotta be a people of worship. And we gotta be a people knowing that your loving kindness is great to the heavens, and thy truth to the clouds. That word truth is translated faithfulness. God, you're faithful. I love the heart of this young gal, Esther. If I perish, I perish. That's it, above every circumstances, Esther says, be exalted, O God. We will eventually see that Haman fell prey to his own devices. Such is the fate of the enemies of God. But in faith, Lord, my faith, my trust, my hope is in you. Be exalted. We're going to go through those times of difficulty, but, exalt the Lord. Sing those praises to him. Trust the Lord. Pray without ceasing like these guys did. It might be, we've been praying for our kids daily for years and years, and you can kind of see, hey, God, where are you, God? Why don't you answer me, God? I can't hear you. Why don't you move? And, like that loved one, we can be faithful. God just says, yeah, be faithful because I'm working in ways that we cannot think or imagine. And God reached out. He saved his people. He saved the nation of Israel. He saved the Jewish people. And he's done it time and time again. He's rescued them. We can go throughout the Bible where the enemies of God wanted to wipe out the people. Just think that we have an enemy of our souls. He's called Satan. He wants to wipe out not only Israel, but he wants to wipe out all the Christians, guys. And we gotta just stay, we gotta remain, we gotta be a people of praise, we gotta be a people of faith and trust, saying that they were gonna go in the things of the Lord. Amen, guys? Father God, we do want to thank you for this evening, Lord. What a great and wonderful God you are, Lord. Truly may you be exalted in our midst, Lord. Truly may you be glorified to the heavens, Lord God. And we thank you, Father. We praise you for your faithfulness and love, Lord. We thank you